Hi everyone, it's your favourite Atomic Blonde here with a bit of Sunday lunch. It's been a while. I haven't actually been around on a Sunday to do a Sunday lunch or in a capacity to actually do a Sunday lunch because I'm normally been out the night before. So let's just leave it at that, shall we? So I hope you had a great week and enjoying your weekend. So, pull up a chair, put your feet up and listen to my ramblings, I guess. So what are we covering today? So, just a few reviews. I mean, as I said on my last pop chat, again, apologies for the picture quality. I have had so many problems with my Wi-Fi over the last few weeks. It just drops out. There's constantly issues with media. It's there, it's not there. I mean, literally before I came on to do this stream, the laptop wouldn't connect to the Wi-Fi. Anyway. So, thankfully the sound quality was good, so I didn't have to record the whole thing again, but apologies. I did do a test before this and it was working okay, but then say the laptop had a brain fart or something and they wouldn't connect to the Wi-Fi. So fingers crossed, we have good picture, good sound, and it lasts the whole stream. That's the word I was looking for. Oh, God, brain fog. If I had a brain, it'd be dangerous. So anyway, so let's get into some reviews. The point I was making actually was on my last stream, just saying there hadn't been much out really, not a lot for me to talk about, so hence why I've not been around. And like anything, they're like buses, right? So we haven't had anything for a while, not anything that floated my boat to talk about. But we've got 3 things to review today. So let's just get into it, shall we? So Black Doves, latest from Netflix, starring Keira Knightley and Ben Whishaw, who's probably best known for being Paddington's voice these days, and the new Q in the Daniel Craig Bond films. So got a spy espionage type show also with Sarah Lancashire, who plays sort of Keira Knightley's boss / handler, I guess. And it's pretty action-packed. I mean, literally from the jump, the show opens to seeing 3 people murdered. And this is all sorts of centers around a Chinese diplomat or ambassador has been killed. It's been like, well, who done it? Obviously, tensions between British, America, and China are increasing. And they need to understand what's gone on here, who's involved, before it escalates into like an international incident. And we're introduced to Keira Knightley's character, who's married to a politician or a minister, quite a senior minister. They seem like happily married, couple of kids. But as ever with these things, nothing is as it seems. And I think over 6 episodes, the show has done a mixture of what's going on plus flashbacks to Keira and Ben Wish's character. He's basically a troubleshooter or a cleaner, hitman, who's there to sort of protect her. And we find out that basically she got recruited into this covert team called Black Doves and was placed with the minister. So they've got a link, the MI5 have got a link into what's going on in government. And her character was having an affair because I think what comes across in the show is she sort of loves her husband, but she's not in love with him because it's a job at the end of the day. But the kids and all that are real. And she genuinely falls in love with this guy who is one of the 3 that is murdered in the opening scene. So not really any spoilers there. And again, so then that sort of triggers what we find out about her backstory, and that she's actually a sort of spy. And through her connections, she's trying to get to the bottom of why was he murdered, and wants to take revenge on whoever murdered him. And there's lots of twists and turns along the way. Other hit people. It's pretty bloody. I mean, they don't shy away from the violence. So if that's not your cup of tea, you will not like this. I think if you like, Slow Horses, which, you know, I love. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. I think if you like Slow Horses, you'll like this. If you like things like sort of procedural, probably if you like Reacher or Terminal List, you will like this. I mean, obviously this is British, set in the UK and London. And as usual, for some reason there's snow and it never snows in London. But anyway, that's kind of bye-bye. But it just always makes me laugh that anything that kind of has American money, they always have it snowing in the UK and around, and it's set at Christmas. Yeah. Hasn't snowed in London at Christmas in, I know, decades. But anyway, so overall, I thought I did enjoy this. As I said, there's lots of twists and turns. Is it the best thing I've ever seen? No, but very solid performances, as you'd expect from like the cast, you know, Keira Knightley, Sarah Lancashire. You know, everybody's backstabbing everybody. You know, nobody can trust anybody. Nobody's who they appear to be. But I think the pacing was pretty well done. The story's pretty solid. You could absolutely have a season 2 of this, given these two's backstory, but their sort of friendship, as Ben Whisha's character is gay. So they're like sort of brother and sister. You know, they've had each other's backs for a long time. It's actually quite a nice relationship to see, like with all this other kind of, you can't trust anybody. That they've got this very solid friendship actually. And his life's quite sad. He had a partner who he really loved, but because of what he does, it was basically, you know, people came after him. And his partner's life was in danger, so he kind of had to disappear and go into like protection. So he lives a very sort of lonely life that he can't get close to anybody because of what happens. So there's a lot of different things, but it's very like a very human, personable, which is quite unusual these days, especially like gay characters. They tend to be written quite one-dimensionally and quite stereotypical. So great to see a very solid gay character in this. That's not just there because he's gay, you know, there's a genuine character there. So that was really good to see, and unusual to see. So overall, like I said, I enjoyed it. You know, like any of these things, there are some contrivances in there, and you know, you have to sort of suspend belief for any of these sort of stories to work. But a good watch, say only 6 episodes. Yeah, I recommend. So give it a go. Let me know what you think. Have you watched it? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments as always. So moving along, Carry On. So Carry On dropped, no, nothing to do with Sid James or Kenneth Williams. So Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman, who obviously had a sort of bit of a stellar comeback in Ozark recently on Netflix, and this is another Netflix original. I think when we all saw the trailer, it kind of gave us Die Hard vibes, and I was genuinely actually really excited to see this because I really like Taron as an actor. He's made some great films. Kingsman is like one of my favorite films. I could just watch that over and over again. And Tetris was really good as well. So yeah, I was excited for this. I don't really know what to say. It's not that good. I think it's what I took from it. I mean, it's completely watchable. It's yeah, straight to streaming action film. But it, you know, not like Die Hard is believable in any way, shape, or form, right? If you ever watch like Mythbusters or the science behind Die Hard, you know he would have like died 10 times over. But you believe that world that he was in. This, I mean, though, to be fair, you know, there's great performances from Taron, great performances, especially from Justin Bateman. Wow, I mean, he is a cold character, absolutely psychotic, and he's a guy who basically gets paid to make stuff happen and not nice stuff happen. So we've got this premise that he is trying to make sure a bomb gets on a plane. Well, it's an actual chemical bomb, another shot bomb. And to do that, he targets Taron's character, who's a TSA agent, who obviously checks the bags as they go through, says he's basically going to kill his girlfriend or his family if he doesn't allow the bag to go through, without being checked. And that's kind of the premise and the setup. So all of this is around Taron trying to keep his girlfriend alive, but also, trying to prevent a terrorist incident. So he's torn between, do I protect her or do I let 250 people die? So the premise in itself is a bit, needs of the many, needs of the few, all that. So he's prepared to let 250 people die to save one person. But I get it, it's his girlfriend. He loves her. And we're told right at the start that she's pregnant, which he doesn't seem that thrilled about, I have to say. He seems pretty like, oh, okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think, again, there's some really stupid plot points. There's some real contrivances. Light spoiler. So he's basically trying to thwart this plan, and he kind of goes, "Oh, I've had enough. I'm not playing ball anymore." And he goes running off through the airport to because they both work at the airport, to save his girlfriend. And the Justin's character, he's got a guy outside the airport in a van holding someone hostage. We find out why he's holding him hostage. And basically gives him the order to kill the girlfriend. So he goes tanking through the airport. He gets to his girlfriend. And he's obviously clearly like really distressed, and his friend had died, and that's all part of, he tried to get a message to the cops, and Justin basically kills him. Sorry, Jason. I don't know where I get Justin from. Jason. So he runs across, he gets to her, and it's the classic trope of the girlfriend just being a pain in the ass, going, I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what's going on. And it's just sort of standing there, and you can see he's like, look, we really need to go, we need to move. I'm not going anywhere. It's just really annoying. And then, the size of the airport. So the guy's in this van outside the airport, like in a parking lot. He drives to a spot with a high-powered rifle and manages to somehow pick exactly the spot in the whole entire sort of airport and where they are and where she works, that he's going to know exactly where they're going to stand, so he can then point a gun at her. So they're having this argument, and then he sees like the red dot on her forehead. So he's a bit like, oh, so she's just down there being really annoying. He knows he's like gonna shoot her if he doesn't start playing ball again. So he just ends up running off. I mean, I would have just gone like, just let the bloody shoot her in the head, quite frankly. And I think if they had done that and they killed his girlfriend right in front of him, there'd be some real genuine tension in this film. It would completely subvert your expectations, because like all the way through you go, well, he's not going to die, his girlfriend's not going to die because they've established that she's pregnant, so they're not going to kill a pregnant woman. If they'd done that this would have like gone up in my estimations massively. But it's just so tropey, and you just know there's no real stakes, that nothing's going to actually happen to either of these two characters, and she's immensely annoying anyway. So then he ends up running off, and then he's basically given this earpiece, so he's back to taking instructions from Jason, and there's various points, like, so Jason actually walks up to him. He knows what Jason now looks like. So all the way through, you're like, well, no matter what he does, how on earth is he gonna let this guy live if he knows what he looks like, right? So again, there's no real kind of, you think, like, even if he goes along with all of this, there's no way he's going to let him stay alive, right, when he can give a description of what this guy looks like. So I mean, there's some good action points in here, and there's like, fights on conveyor belts and cases, and he does his best. And how it ends, I mean, it's a sort of karma, I think. It's quite a good way that it kind of resolves itself. But I just found there's just the way they behaved, and it just really didn't. It's too long. I mean, I think it's 2 hours. You don't need 2 hours for an action film. You don't really feel that there's real stakes here. Like, say, at no point did you think, that the girlfriend was actually going to be killed at any point. So, yes, spoiler, she didn't die. So yeah, it's massively disappointing actually. Real anti-climax. I mean, I've watched it. I wouldn't bother watching it again. I don't think it's good enough to watch twice. And a real waste of acting talent, to be fair. I mean, you got the performances were great. It wasn't like you didn't believe the performances, but the story and some of the dialogue was just so like, why would you do that? You know, I just sit there going, well, why wouldn't you just do this? Or you do, you know, and I know, you know, how I would actually react in this situation. But it's like sort of no real common sense. I don't, it just didn't feel authentic, I think. So I don't want to say realistic because these things are realistic, but it just didn't feel authentic somehow. So massive disappointment. I think some people will like it and enjoy it. You know, switch your brain off and leave it at the door. You know, it's something a bit different, I guess, but it is no Die Hard. It's nowhere near Die Hard. It's not even close to Die Hard's not so good sequels. Do you know what I mean? So massively disappointing, waste of talent. Just not very engaging. As I say, for me there was no tension the whole way through. I actually just found it quite irritating because you just thought, God, you people are thick. So but let me know what you think, and if you love it, fine, no issues with that. But it's just a real anticlimax because I was really looking forward to this. So I'd say I love a good action film. But this was not for me. Okay, moving on to the last review. Dexter Original Sin. So we're now in prequel territory with Dexter. So I have to say, I wasn't massively excited when I heard this was announced. I think we were all a bit tired of prequels. I mean, what they have done, which I quite liked, is sort of tie it into the end of New Blood, Dexter New Blood. So obviously at the end of that, Dexter was shot. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, I can't believe they killed off Dexter again. And I was a bit like, well, we don't know he's dead. We just saw him shot and he's bleeding out on the snow. So yeah, so basically he's been rushed to the emergency ward. He's obviously about to be operated on or treated. And so the prequel element of this is basically like his life flashing before his eyes. So you have got Michael C. Hall briefly in it, in terms of he's obviously at the hospital, and all the narration is Michael C. Hall. The guy they've got to play young Dexter, this Patrick Gibson, I think done a great job. I mean, he does look like, as you can see from this picture, they're like the facial features really match up. And that was great to see. The girl they've got to play Deborah looks nothing like her at all. Not body type, not facially. I mean, this girl's not big, but the actress that played Deborah was so skinny. And this is supposed to be like young Deb, which means she'd probably be even skinnier when she was in her teenage years. But I mean, all you basically got is this girl being very sweary because that was Deborah's character. So I don't think that casting's landed for me. I don't really get Deb's personality. She definitely doesn't look like her. She just swears a lot, and there's more to Deborah's character than that. Christian Slater has taken over from James Remar as Dexter's father. No, I mean, I imagine it's because he's probably too old to play. Oh, he might just said, no, I'm not interested. But, you know, he's probably too old to play Dexter's father in the early 90s. And you see younger versions of the characters in the precinct, like Angel, who obviously in their younger selves. So this is all about how because throughout Dexter, you know, we kind of got the flashbacks and his dark passenger, and when he's having conversations with his father, you know, we learned quite a bit about Dexter's backstory. But this is obviously a really sort of telling of that and how he made his first kill. That's in the first episode. It's a good casting. When you got Sarah Michelle Gellar, he basically sort of becomes an intern He's originally going to uni because he wants to be a surgeon or something like that, basically because he wants to be able to cut things up, right? But then he sort of realizes that, yeah, that's not really cutting it for him. No pun intended. And then sort of goes crying and sort of see he's interested in the sort of blood splatter and that. So obviously Harry pulls some strings and he sort of becomes an intern, and he's going to be working for Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, and she's sort of going to be his mentor, etc. So I know this hasn't had stellar reviews, I don't think. I mean, I quite enjoyed the first episode, actually. It's fine. Again, not perfect, like I said, especially the Deborah casting. I just don't get that, and it's quite distracting. But how he goes about, doing his first kill, and how he ends up going down the route of blood splatter and getting into the police I actually thought that was done quite well. So just the one episode to base it on, but there's enough in there that I definitely will watch the next episode and sort of see where the show goes. So the actor, this Patrick Gibson, who's playing Dexter, I thought done a very good job. He's obviously looked at some of Michael C. Hall's mannerisms, etc. And so he is believable as a young Dexter. So yeah, very early days, and say definitely not perfect, but enough in there that I want to see where it goes. I mean, the problem with prequels is like we always know where they end up. I think it's more what stories are they going to tell? How do they tell it? And I guess sort of watching Dexter build his craft and how he built up knowing what to do and working with Harry and the code and all that kind of thing. I think some of the problem with that is that some of that was actually covered really in Original Sin, Dexter Original Sin, where they brought the show back to undo that terrible ending that we got in the original show. When he's obviously teaching his son like how to do all of this in the code. So you've kind of seen some of this, but done through Dexter teaching his son. So yeah, so it could the danger of this is it could just be repetitive of that. But I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt because I loved Dexter when it came out. I mean, the latter seasons dipped in quality. But you'll never beat that Trinity season with John Lithgow. It's absolutely amazing. And I highly recommend going back and watching Dexter if you haven't. All episodes are on Paramount. This is also on Paramount Plus, as is New Blood. So Dexter Original Sin. So far, I'm like mid. It's okay. It's watchable. Enough in there to make me want to carry on, but say it could fall in the trap of so many prequels, but we'll see. Once this looks like it's dropping weekly. I'm not sure how many episodes, but as always, I will do a wrap up of the show at the end. If I stick with it all the way through, if I drop out, I will let you know. So but fingers crossed, we get something new and interesting to watch as Dexter was a great show and a groundbreaking show. I think the real poster child of the trope of the anti-hero that all of Hollywood just fell into, that villains aren't really villains and sometimes people are just bad. And Hollywood seems to have lost sight of that completely. Cool. So, as always, leave me a comment on any of the shows or films I've discussed today. Always love to know your thoughts. So what are you into? What are you watching? Is there something you want me to review? Then let me know. In a pop chat the other day, obviously I sort of flagged some stuff that I'm looking forward to, like Nosferatu, and some other bits and pieces. And again, as always, I will do my best and worst of 2024 before the end of the year, probably around Christmas Eve. And I normally do a stream Christmas Eve as well before the festivities kick in. And I'm too well oiled to do the stream, shall we say. So and obviously that's not that far away now, just over a week to go. So I will probably drop in with some pop chat next week, assuming there's some chat to chat about. And any new shows coming out, again, we'll update you on those. So hopefully a pop chat next week, and definitely a Christmas Eve stream. Doing my best and worst of 2024, and what am I most looking forward to in 2025. So all good. Yeah, so I guess that's it. I'm like running around my brain like, have I forgotten to talk about anything? Because I keep doing that. But that's it for now. If I remember, it'll go into the pop chat. So anyway, have a great week. Always lovely to see you guys and chat and know your thoughts. So you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.